So Bob's written several books. The title of his performance/keynote is From Quantum Pictorialism to Interpretable Quantum AI. In 2020, Bob's Oxford-based Quantinuum team performed quantum natural language processing, QNLP, on IBM quantum hardware. The compositional match between natural language and quantum extends to other domains besides language. It argues that a new generation of AI can emerge when fully pushing this analogy while exploiting the completeness of categorical quantum mechanics, ZX calculus, for novel reasoning purposes that go hand in hand with modern machine learning. So,
just to remind the
cocktail, yeah, cocktail party. Don't forget the cocktail party. Bob brought his Paul Reed Smith guitar, one of many. If you follow him on LinkedIn, you would have seen pictures of all his gear. He's got a bunch of really cool gear. He posts occasionally. But I guess this is his favorite for Dubai, anyway. So, Bob, so I turn it over to you.
Yeah, right. I'm still setting up, huh?
You're still setting up, okay. I could sing the...
You play music. How long does
I do.
How long does it take you to set up?
It takes me a long time.
Have you ever seen somebody set up that quick?
Actually, I just got these really cool wireless devices that you just plug into the instrument and one into the amp. I'm a bass player, by the way.
I still like it.
I used to do it for a living. Still like cables, yeah.
I mean, my entire career is based on cables.
Oh, okay. Based on cables.
Yeah. I'm also
is this live? Yeah, it's good.
I'm good. Can we do a quick lines check? Is this working?
Make sure his charts are up.
Yes. Yes. Is this working? Okay, yeah. Can we have a very quick line check? Just to see that something comes out.
Oh, those are cool. The focus rate. Yeah, man. Nice.
You get something?
Rupert Neve.
Okay, we're good.
All right, we're good. I'll leave you to it, man.
Much louder. Okay, and this is our switch. Yes. Okay, so hello everybody. I'll turn a little bit here so I can see my slides better. So my name is Bob. I got a few roles in my life, like I'm now chief scientist at Quantinuum. I was like a very long time a professor at Oxford. I'm a musician, and I'm also at the Distinguished Chair at Perimeter Institute for Theoretical Physics. So, okay, so I'm going to start talking to you about the language of quantum. So what is the language of quantum? The language of quantum is what you use to talk about quantum. This is John von Neumann. He's the father of the computer architecture, which is standing here on the table. But he's also the father of the language of quantum, the original language of quantum, which is the Hilbert space, for those who know maths, what this is about. But in 1935, this was 3 years after he publicized his language for quantum, von Neumann said, I would like to make a confession which may seem immoral. I do not believe absolutely in Hilbert space no more. So he denounced his own formalism. This is Erwin Schrödinger. So Schrödinger said in the same year, 1935, that if we truly will understand quantum mechanics, or talk quantum mechanics, or build a good language for quantum mechanics, then this should be about what happens when you put two systems together. Like the special new relationships which emerge when you put two systems together. That's what Schrödinger was emphasizing. Nobody really followed up on this idea of Schrödinger. However, because it was, nobody knew how to do it. So this is Roger Penrose, he's in Oxford, in the Maths Institute, where I'm based too, still. And at some point, when he was an undergraduate student even, he publicized, is there a thing here? Oh yeah, is there a... Well, I can't really see, it doesn't matter. He published a paper with these pictures in the appendix, because he really didn't like the usual maths, in which, in this case, general relativity was formulated. And instead, he used these pictures. Now, these pictures turn out to correspond to some very complicated kind of math, which is called category theory. But they're a much simpler representation. In 2005, I wrote a paper called Kindergarten Quantum Mechanics, where I realized Schrödinger's idea, well, I started to realize Schrödinger's idea, to actually formulate quantum mechanics focusing on what happens when systems come together and compose. Like, you all have personal relationships and stuff like that, you know. It's not about what you're made up from, it's about what's in between the two of you, right? That's the relationship. So quantum is about that too, by the way. And so in that paper, we started to formulate quantum mechanics in a sense which was about how things relate to each other. 13 years later, there is this book, Picturing Quantum Processors. It took quite a while. This is a course which I've been teaching at Oxford when I was there for 10 years, quantum course, but everything is formulated entirely in pictures, everything. We also explain, of course, how it relates to von Neumann's language, but, but we can do everything with pictures. Now, we're 5 years later, again, and now there's another book. Wow. Now, what is this book about? Well, if you read what's on the back, it says that you actually don't need to know any maths anymore to understand quantum mechanics. Who doesn't know any maths here? So you got no excuse anymore not to understand quantum mechanics, because this book does it for you. So they haven't been released yet, but we've got a bunch of videos which cover the entire book, which will be released on YouTube, which are currently being finally produced. And I'll take you a little bit through it. I'm going to go very fast. So the first thing is about wires. That's why I say I still like my wires from my musical instrument, because my career is based on wires. A wire is a thing. A wire is like a thing like this wire, in which stuff flows. Stuff flows in a wire. And what is a box? A box is something that changes what flows in the wire. It's very simple. So that's the basic idea. And then you can plug these boxes together. What I've just been doing in front of you, by the way, guitar is a box, computer is a box, got a few boxes here on the desk. They're all boxes. And now things become really interesting when you start to make new boxes out of old ones. And what you see here in the dotted lines is you see a box which is like a cup-shaped wire, like this. Like this. That's what you see there. And then on top you see a box which is shaped like this. It's a cap-shaped wire. So these are new boxes I introduce. And the way you have to think about the one on the bottom is like, I give you two systems. I give you two systems in a very interesting state. Like a couple, like a married couple or something like that. And the thing on top is like the question, hey, is this couple married? Or something like that. Huh? And then, okay, but ultimately this equation is just a wire being yanked to be a wire. So you just got wire. I mean, this equation is literally that this thing is the same as this thing. That's all it's saying. This thing is the same as this thing. Now, this is quantum teleportation. Basically, you got the galaxy there, very badly drawn. You got a little box on the left, and then you see that the two parties on the two sides of a galaxy, they share such a cup-shaped wire. And by then asking a question on top, the box ends up at the other side. So that's quantum teleportation in a nutshell, very simple. So these sort of wires allow you to explain complicated things. I don't expect you to understand this, but I mean, you're going to be embarrassed soon. Believe me. So now to get to a full universal language of quantum, you need to go to more general wires than usual wires. So what is that? To know what a more general wire is, you need to first understand what a usual wire is. A wire is a thing with two endpoints. That's a wire. A wire is a thing with two endpoints, and if you connect two wires together, then you get another wire. Just think an extension lead or an extension lead. You connect two together, you get a new extension lead. Now things become a lot more interesting when you got a wire which has multiple outputs, which we call a spider. We call it a spider because it looks like a spider. It's very simple. Now, the idea is if you plug two of these spiders together, you get again a spider, but think of it now as a multi-socket. If you plug two multi-sockets together, you get a lot more plugs, so it's more useful. And that's kind of what's happening too. So this is our first rule. You plug two spiders together, and you get a new spider. These spiders have the same color. Okay, what happens if two spiders of different colors see each other? I mean, it's typical. It's typical. They don't like each other. So they both give each other like a sort of uppercut. Boom. You see these two wires in the middle, and then spiders' arms are sort of loose, so they fall off. They just fall off. So this equation says that if you got two wires between spiders of different colors, they go away. And now I'm going to teach you quantum computing. All you need to know. This is quantum program. This is quantum program. What you see, the vertical wires there, they're qubits. You have to think of them as qubits, and the horizontal things are gates. Gates you apply to qubits, and each of these gates has a red and a green dot. And you apply them to the qubits. So they're made up of the spiders I was just explaining you. They're made up of the spiders I was just explaining you. And so we have three qubits and three gates acting on these qubits. That's what we see here. Now, what is the first thing we're going to do? Usually, I ask people, tell me, and then I start throwing books at them. But I run out of books. You got one already. Okay, so I'm running out of books, so I can't just throw them at people who answer the right question. Yeah, but I mean, the rules were spiders of the same color fuse. You see, there is a red spider connected to a red spider and three spiders connected to each other, green. Hop, they fuse. Then I told you that if they have different colors and they got connected by 2 wires, these wires vanish. Right? And a spider with 2 ends, that's just a regular wire. So we've all have explained. So this, what I just showed you, is the state of the art of quantum circuit optimization. If you've got a complicated quantum program, you want to turn this into a simple one, this is exactly what you did, what I just showed. This is the state of the art. And I just explained, if I would have taken 2 minutes longer, you probably could have done it all yourself. Right? Right? No? Right, okay, good. Now, what is the difference between classical and quantum? Well, this is a spider. Now, the way, so far, I've only talked about quantum alone, if you want. Now, we're going to change things slightly. We're going to represent quantum by 2 wires instead of 1, and classical by 1 wire. That's the new rule. For people who know quantum physics, this is like going to density matrices. I can't explain you how, because it's not easy. But this is like going to density matrices. So we got here something that gets quantum in and ordinary out. So that's actually a measurement. That's what quantum physicists call a measurement. This is the opposite. You get something classical in, you get quantum out. This is what physicists call encoding classical data into a quantum computer. That's what all quantum computing is about. You've got some data and then you try to stick it on a quantum computer, right? This is this. And now we can start proving things. If you're not very smart, then you encode something in your quantum computer and then you take a measurement and ultimately what you did was nothing. Because what comes in is the same as what goes out. You see, I'm just using the spider fusing stuff, right? Just fusing 2 spiders. It's very simple. We're already at page 50 of the book, by the way. So we're going pretty fast. This is much more interesting. If you encode in one color, and then measure in the other color, see 2 wires in between, they vanish. So this means whatever came in has nothing to do with whatever goes out. That's what it means. So, and this is the idea of that in quantum mechanics you have got measurements which are very incomparable. You may have heard about position and momentum and things like that. So this is what this is about. Now this is even more interesting, like philosophers have written about 10,000 books about this one picture. Probably 100,000, I don't know. So you see on the left-hand side, you see quantum things coming in, quantum things coming out, but also something classical coming out, something non-quantum. That's the single wire. And then we do the same in a different color, and then we do the same in the first color. So we got green color, green color. The 2 double wires vanish. So what you see is whatever came in at the beginning has nothing to do with whatever comes out at the end because there's no connection. So this is the idea that if a car would be a quantum system and you first ask the car, which color are you? And then you ask the car, which brand are you? And then you ask again the car, which color are you? Then the first answer to color and the last answer to color have nothing to do with each other. They're completely unrelated. So this is what you learn now from these single pictures. If you want to learn this in the usual way, you have to go to university and study this stuff. So that's the difference. And now you get it all for free. So what is the usual fee for a university? Like, I mean, come on. Huh? Okay, some uses. So where are these things used? So this is a paper by Peter Shor. Peter Shor, as you may know, is the father of modern quantum computing. He invented the factoring algorithm, which is like the basis of the whole development of quantum technology. So last year, Peter Shor was advertising these spiders. When you see ZX, the letter Z and X, it means they're talking about these spiders. That's what it is. Because you know, when you talk to theoretical physicists and you say, hey, spiders here, spiders there, they don't take you serious. If you start using horrible symbols, oh yeah, that's cool. So that's kind of it goes. So that's Peter Shor. Now where these pictures are really very much used and actually totally dominant is in photonic quantum computing. Quandela, are you here? Okay, that's Quandela. So they do that stuff. So that's where you use these sort of diagrams because it's just so much easier to do anything in photonic quantum computing when you use this language. This is a paper from PsiQuantum, which is, I don't want to insult anybody, but the biggest photonic quantum computing company in the world, and they say it's an immensely usable language. Now I'm going to talk the most interesting part of the story here. So This is supposed to be easy. That's what I claim. That's what I've always claimed. I started with a paper called Kindergarten Quantum Mechanics. So we actually did an experiment this summer. What we did is we used the book I showed, like, which everybody can read, and the video lectures, and some exercises which we prepared and recorded all on video. And we took 60 fairly average secondary school, which in America they call high school UK students. UK because of legal reasons, blah, 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 blah. It's complicated to work with minors. And then we taught them all that stuff over a period of 8 weeks, which is exactly mimics how an Oxford postgraduate course is given. We completely followed the template of an Oxford postgraduate course, exactly. It was much more, it was not as good in the sense that everything was online. We had lots of ethical restrictions. They were not allowed to use social media as these kids, so it was pretty bad. And then we gave them an Oxford University postgraduate exam. Like, we only took questions which had been asked at Oxford University postgraduate exam. And, come on. Oh, okay, 48% of the kids got a distinction. Clap. Clap. Okay. You can read more about this in this Guardian article, although I should warn you, there are some bad words in there. They quoted me. So anyway, but yeah, so it's, and if you want to read, there's also this blog post, which doesn't have bad words, which you find just on Medium, and which explains what we exactly did. It was a collaboration between ourselves at Quantinuum, my former group at Oxford University, and also Siglinde from IBM. So it was a collaboration, and lots of people were involved in that over the years. Okay, back 2005 in Montreal, I was explaining teleportation like I tried to explain to you. It was 2005, and there was somebody in the audience. The name is Jim Lambeck. Jim Lambeck is one of the pioneers of computational linguistics, or mathematical linguistics. This is how you study when a sentence is grammatical and stuff like that. Like, how do you know that sentence is grammatical? You can actually apply maths to that. And that's what Jim Lambeck pioneered, in fact. So he was in the audience, and when he saw me explaining teleportation, he said, "Bob, this is grammar." So I was explaining quantum teleportation, and Jim said, "Bob, this is grammar." And he was right. The mathematical structures he came up with to describe how sentences are well formed grammatically is exactly the same stuff as the pictures we are using. You can write them as pictures too. So 3 years later, I mean, I didn't take much notice because I was trying to sort of change von Neumann's quantum formalism, but then 3 years later, I had Oxford, there was somebody who actually knew this grammar maths, Marouche Adrzadeh. There was Steve Clark, who's now the head of AI at Quantinuum, and he was starting to work with vectors as meaning, what ChatGPT and all that stuff uses. At the time, this was still purely academic. This was a purely academic discipline. There was no what people call now AI in the modern sense and stuff like that. But he was working on that stuff. And then when you got a theory of grammar and you got a theory of meaning, then you want to combine them because that's what we humans do. When we understand meanings of words and we put them together in a certain way, we form sentences which we expect everybody to understand. Did you understand any sentence I said today? More or less. Okay. Well, that's good enough. So, how to combine meaning of grammar? And the answer was given just before. The answer was given here. Because these wires you see, they're grammar. What flows in the wires are vectors, quantum states. This is what people now use for meaning in machine learning and all of that. So you could use the wires to mediate how the meanings interact, and it was the correct mediation because this was exactly grammatical structure, these diagrams. So we came out with a paper, this was 2008 or something like that, Mathematical Foundation for a Compositional Distributional Model of Meaning, and this is more or less how it works. You got these words here, Alice, H, Bob, they're supposed to be vectors. The wires underneath make them interact with each other, these words, and what comes out is the meaning of a sentence. We did a lot of, so this is the grammar, this is the meaning, this is how they interact. I mean, we did a lot of experiments and stuff like that. It was all very successful. We even used spiders for relative pronouns. She, who, hates Bob. So spiders come into the picture. Everything which I was talking about before suddenly came into this picture. So this was 2008, 9, 10. And then I told my co-authors, never use the word quantum, never mention that this actually came out of quantum, because otherwise they're going to all think that we're a bunch of crackpots. Nobody applies quantum to language, nobody. I mean, this is 2008, 2010-ish, you know? And of course, then these articles came out, so I thought, okay, let's start playing music again, because that's going to be the only possibility I've got again for a career, you know? But of course, there's this guy, Feynman. Feynman said, if there is something that you want to model on a machine, a computer, because there was only one kind of computer around, which in essence is quantum, then you actually need to use a computer that's fundamentally quantum mechanical. And we start to feel this too. With this new model of language that we had, it wasn't working very well on classical machine. It worked very well, but it didn't scale well. It didn't scale well. So we took a break, and then in 2020, we had quantum computers at our disposal. This was an IBM quantum computer, and we were able to actually, for the first time, to do question answering with a quantum machine. So we actually did in 2020 question answering in a quantum machine, which you teach the computer something and then you start asking questions. We did this with a quantum machine in 2020. Is Quantum Daily here? No, he's not here. Yeah, you wrote about that. You covered that. Okay, so and then it got covered in other places, because what we did then is like we publicized all the software we did. We gave it to everybody. It's open source, everybody, well documented. Everybody can do quantum natural language processing now. And the name of the software is Lambeck, named after the guy I mentioned in the beginning, who sort of made his observation that this was the same thing. Okay, we're going to slowly move to music. So the Quantum Insider. Yay! So rollover Quantoven. Can quantum computers be programmed to become quantum composers? Yes, so we did. So we basically took our natural language stuff, we took out the the linguistic grammar, put in musical grammar. We took out linguistic meaning, put in musical meaning. We started to produce some music with a quantum computer, effectively. And the song we produced ended up #1 in the classical charts. Yeah? Okay. So, okay, I think this is now the end of my keynote time, so I'm going to skip all of that. Just keep your eyes open, because soon we will be announcing a quantum advantage result in this space. So we're running it now. We got some theorems and we got some implementations. But now I'm going to talk about something. You can leave. This is not my science talk anymore. It's finished. The clock says so. Time is up, it says. So now I'm going to do something else. It won't be too long. Music and machines. So what I was just talking about was using machines to make music. We use a quantum computer to make music. So there is a rich history. So this is kind of the bridge to the cocktail party, you know? This is the bridge to the cocktail party. So where are your cocktails? Where are your cocktails? It's coming. I'm giving some context here, because I was just talking about music and machines, right? Like using quantum computers to make music. Okay, music and machines. So people start to use music for machines like in the 1940s. I don't know whether people know these names. Boulez. Yes, they're famous musicians. They're very famous composers. They basically changed music, and they started to use machines rather than regular instruments. This came sort of from the classical tradition of music. Classical musical tradition. Then some bands came, like in the 1970s, like Strobe and Gristel, Einstein, anybody knows them? Yeah, good. I mean, there would be no electronic music today, dance music, without these bands. Really, they did all of... People don't know them anymore, but they started all of them. I mean, Wikipedia, I'm not going to read through this. They give all the credit to these guys. So these German guys too, like these two bands I just mentioned. Okay, so this is me. Well, that's my living room. I'm not on a picture. This is my living room in the late 80s, early 90s. I was offered a PhD scholarship from my university, and the way it went in Belgium was you got all the money in advance. So I ran to the shop and I bought a music studio, and I had no money anymore. So this is my living. There's the white box in the middle is called a sampler. At that time, the price of a sample was the same as the price of a fancy car. That's how it was at the time. So a lot of money was gone. So anyway, we made some music. We produced some albums and stuff like that. But then, I mean, my music, I started in quantum foundations. Quantum foundations. I don't know what people know what this means, but in the 19th this meant career suicide. Literally, career suicide. So I had to do a lot of work to actually rescue my career. And in the end, I ended up becoming a professor in Oxford. So all the music thing, the music was even never released. It was never released. So it was a bit of a shame, all that money. You know, that stuff is now useless, by the way, all this old equipment. It's completely useless. I still have it. I still have it. But then, I mean, I left academia. I joined a quantum computing company, and I suddenly found myself with time. Because, I mean, I'm not, okay, I promised not to swear this time. So I'm not going to say something about why. But anyway, so we released some new, I mean, I managed to release some new music with a much cheaper music studio, but still, I could afford it because I'm working in the private sector now. And then this sort of stuff came out. This is not too long ago. New Artist Spotlight, Sword of Meat, Black Teeth, the pioneering industrial band that released their work 35 years late. So that was us. So we were retrospectively recognized as pioneers of industrial music. So this happened last year. That's cool. I mean, this... No. I was just giving context. So we were called the missing bridge between these old bands and maybe, I don't know, does anybody know Nine Inch Nails? Yeah. They're in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. They're in the Rock and Roll Hall. So we were called the missing bridge between these old industrial bands and bands like Nine Inch Nails. So that's what I'm going to give you now. Yeah. Volume up. Okay, let's look cooler. There. Better? Background is good, glasses are good. Yeah, I know.